Hey, hello, everyone. Welcome to the March 1st Father, Son, and Holy Sport NFL show. I'm G-Man. That there is T-Money. What's up, T?
What's going on, G-Man? It's been a minute. You know, we've had a little break, and we're going to take one here in the next few weeks for March Madness. But there's always football to be talked about. So happy to dive back in with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And the NFL Combine is underway. If you get the NFL Network, you can check it out. But hey, the on-the-field portion starts tomorrow, Thursday. This is Wednesday, what we're recording. What are you looking forward to at these NFL Combines, man?
Well, let me tell you what I'm really looking forward to at the Combine. Right now, the two fastest 40 times prediction-wise are both Cincinnati Bearcats.
Woo!
Trey Tucker, wide receiver, and Tyler Scott, wide receiver.
Look at you.
Both projected to go 4-3 or even lower to maybe challenge the record. So really excited to see these guys, and Tyler Scott specifically. Really not a big name at UC. You know, Alec Pierce was the big guy, but this guy is moving up draft boards, now projected second rounder, and he wasn't even that utilized at UC. So excited to see what happens with those two wide receivers and the 40 times specifically.
Well, that is excellent. That's excellent. Of course, on the bigger stage here, everybody looking forward to the quarterback now, Anthony Richardson out of Florida. Everybody's going crazy about him, and that he's going to run the fastest time and outperform all the other quarterbacks by far. So everybody's looking forward to seeing him do his thing. Is he, T-Money, an athlete that's playing quarterback, or can he be a quarterback that's an athlete?
Man, everyone says he has crazy talent. Like, this guy has the highest ceiling of anyone in this draft class. People are comparing him to Jalen Hurts now because of his ability to run and throw. I mean, he just looks like an all-time talent, but can you capture that and bottle it up and give it the right mechanics and pocket passing presence and things like that? That's going to be the challenging thing to a team, because Bryce Young is ready-made. He might be short, but he's ready-made. Are you willing to put in the project like Philly was with Jalen Hurts on Anthony Richardson for the all-time talent potential?
Yeah. No, that's right. And Bryce Young not throwing.
Nope.
He's not throwing. He's already the supposed number one quarterback. So why does he have to throw? And he, he's going to skip it out, and he's a lot smaller. It's not just his height, it's his weight. This overall size, he's so much smaller,
tiny.
6 foot, under 200, compared to, someone like CJ Stroud, who's so much bigger, 6'3" and 220.
Yeah, I'm hearing he might even be 5'10". So like Kyler Murray or shorter size. So like that, I think a lot of people are getting scared, but there's no other big prospect in this. The guy is unbelievable. If he was 6'2", we'd be talking about him like he's Caleb Williams. But unfortunately he's not. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this all folds out. Who likes CJ Stroud? OSU quarterbacks struggle a lot of times in the NFL because their teams and wide receivers are so good. Who likes Will Levis? He's compared to Josh Allen. I mean, there's a lot of question marks around these quarterbacks, but as every year goes, I'm sure there's 4 in the top 20, and there's going to be 2 in the top 5. So
I was going to say there could be 3 in the top 5 or 7.
Yeah, there could be easily. So it's going to be interesting. Will Levis is talked about as a top 10 guy and a late first round guy. So there's a lot of fluctuation here. It's going to be interesting to see how the draft folds out.
Hey, so we got that going on this week. March 15th is the start of the new NFL year. Free agency and trade start on March 15. Hey, y'all, do us a favor, press that like and subscribe. We appreciate your support. Father, Son, and Holy Sport. Let's go to our NFL rundown, cover a few hot topics for you around the league beside the Combine. And T-Money, we got the Rams, release Bobby Wagner, and now they're shopping Jalen Ramsey, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. What do you think? Should they trade Jalen Ramsey?
Oh, man, I think they should. I think they, put themselves in cap hell. They have no draft picks, and they went all in for a Super Bowl. And as a fan, I appreciate that. I would rather have a Super Bowl than a draft pick. I don't care.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that don't have draft picks. Look at the Denver Broncos. They don't have any. And they got Russell Wilson, worst contract in sports, and not a Super Bowl. At least the Rams got a Super Bowl, right? So I'm not going to complain about that. But yeah, they got to start making some tough decisions here. I do think trading Jalen Ramsey maybe to the Bengals sounds pretty great. I don't know about you guys. But yeah, I think it's time to trade off some assets. They really, really need some draft capital to go get some offensive linemen specifically. I would consider trading a lot of guys, maybe even Cooper Kupp. I mean, Aaron Donald, I'd be open to it. Like, seriously, trading these guys to some contenders and flipping this, because I don't know if this roster is good enough anymore. I just don't see the elite pieces, and without a decent offensive line, who cares how good your defense is? So I'm not sold on the Rams moving forward. So I think it's just a full fire sale. Like, if you're going to do it, do it. Selling off two pieces for these Rams, I mean, they have their team so top heavy that you lose one or two of those guys, there's nothing left to hold the team together. So very, very intrigued to see how this goes if they sort of backpedal and try to build out the team from the middle now instead of, 3 or 4 top heavy stars.
Yeah. Well, hey, good answer there. You said a lot of things that I'm thinking too. Jalen Ramsey coming in that big trade in 2019 and crucial to them winning that Super Bowl in 2021. Yeah. And you're right, they won that Super Bowl. They did invest and win, unlike Denver, who invested in Russ and did not win. And there's a lot of teams who did not win the Super Bowl. Even the Cincinnati Bengals, you could say, okay, man, they've got to pay some people now too.
Yeah.
And they did not win the Super Bowl. So, these teams that do load up, can they win it? The Rams did it. Now they're in a tailspin, and they're rebuilding. And
Bucks did it.
I love Jalen Ramsey. I love watching him play. The guy's still one of the best at his position. He would be a great pickup for anybody. I was looking at the pay T money for who are the top paid D-backs in the NFL, and where do you think he ranks?
Now he's probably 3rd, 4th.
I got him at 20 million a year.
Yeah.
20 million a year. 2 guys ahead of him. You know who they are?
Jair Alexander.
Jair Alexander's number 1, 21 million a year. Who's number 2?
Who's the guy for Buffalo?
It's not Buffalo.
Okay.
It's Browns.
Oh, Ward?
Denzel Ward, 20.1 million.
Yeah.
So those are the top 3. Ramsey up there. His stats are still great. So he's going to be a valuable asset for them to move.
I don't know if they're going to be able to get a first, because he kind of took a dip this year, and that's a pretty big contract. But a couple seconds, that's still good enough. I hear from draft experts that this draft specifically is after about 15 to everyone else is a second round grade anyways. So there's not much difference between the 16th pick and the 40th pick. So a couple seconds here, I think, could be good for them.
Well, right now the Rams do not have a pick in the first round. They're the 5th pick in round 2. So they could really use a pick in that first round.
Yeah. Yeah. Should be interesting to see what they do here. Love Jalen Ramsey, love his fire, but looks like they're already shopping him. They've already told him. They've told teams. So my guess would be he will be traded here in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Let's move on to your favorite guy and Justine's favorite guy. All right. That's Jimmy G. All right. The man is a free agent now. There's talk about everyone. He seems to be involved in the quarterback dominoes, but it sounds like the first ones to go will be Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. After that, who should sign Jimmy G?
Well, it's interesting what you just said, because I think nothing's happening until Lamar and Aaron Rodgers. Lamar's not settled yet either.
Very interesting.
I think Lamar and Aaron Rodgers are the 2 dominoes that have to fall before the rest of these guys land, because other guys are shooting for Lamar and Aaron Rodgers. And so then they'd have to settle for Jimmy G.
Yeah.
So where should Jimmy go is one question. Who should get Jimmy might be another one. But I think in terms of where's he best fit, I've said before, Tampa's a great spot for any of these guys. Kyle Trask is the number 1 quarterback. Jimmy G could go in there and start and get to the playoffs. So I think they could win the NFC South again. Tampa. With Jimmy G, they got a lot of pieces around him. Still, they have the pieces offensively and defensively to win that NFC South. I think that's the best spot for Jimmy G.
Yeah, I don't mind that option. My preference would be nobody sign him. I wouldn't want to have him as my quarterback. I either want a young guy that I can groom, or I want an elite quarterback. And Jimmy G is neither of those things. I would prefer him to be a backup. And if he's going to be a backup, I would like Los Angeles. The Rams, I think, would be a decent spot with Matthew Stafford kind of being up and down. You saw Baker come in. He can still win there. I think that's a good backup spot if I'm Jimmy G, Los Angeles Rams. But if you want to be the starter, fine. I like the Commanders, okay? I like the Commanders here. That's where I would lean if I'm him. I got good weapons with the wide receivers out there, solid offensive line, really good defense. The team wants to win. They're not looking towards the future. Sam Howell's your only competition, and you can groom him and understand that eventually he's going to take over. Eric Bieniemy is a new OC, so you can trust that you're going to get good play calling. So I do think that I would choose the Commanders if I was Jimmy G.
Not bad. But yes, he will be probably a backup unless he lands in one of these spots like we're talking about.
Yeah.
That do not have that go-to quarterback. But he's a plug-and-play backup. That guy would be the best backup in the NFL as a backup.
Yeah.
Another great place that we've talked about before for some of these other quarterbacks is the Jets. They got the defense. Their defense is excellent. Okay, so they really need someone to manage that offense better than Zach Wilson was. They have no one really better than Zach Wilson right now. Robert Saleh comes from the 49ers. He knows Jimmy G.
Yeah.
He has a relationship there. Gang Green becomes Gang Garoppolo.
I don't hate it. I also think Carolina and the Raiders, you got to keep an eye out for. The Raiders, McDaniels coached Jimmy G when he was at the Patriots, so there's a connection there. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy G ends up at the Raiders.
Well, you mentioned the Commanders. I wanted to ask you about the Commanders. Eric Bieniemy takes that offensive coordinator. He's also, by title, is the head coach and offensive coordinator. So he leaves KC after winning 2 Super Bowls. T-Money, was that a smart move for Eric Bieniemy?
I mean, shit, I think he had to because he's basically been blackballed by the damn NFL. Matt Nagy, Doug Peterson both get head coaching jobs after winning, after coaching under Andy Reid. Those guys did. Look at Philadelphia. Both their coordinators get to the Super Bowl, and both of them get hired as head coaches. All these guys that are coordinators on teams that make Super Bowls go on to be head coaches, other than Eric Bieniemy. And don't blame it on Andy Reid play calling, because 2 of his OCs have gotten head coaching jobs. Doug Peterson's now on his second team. And so it's really frustrating to me. I don't want to play the race card here, but that is the only option for me unless he is the world's worst interviewer, which I can't believe that's the truth. He seems like a good guy in the press conference with the Commanders. Everyone talks highly about him. Patrick Mahomes liked him. I mean, he was the offensive coordinator for 5 years. It's not like he was doing anything wrong. He seemed to be doing great things. So I'm a little frustrated here that he had to get out of Andy Reid's shadow. Good for him for trusting himself enough to do that. Ron Rivera might be 1 foot out the door already, so he might be in line to take over that job after a year or two. I'm excited for him because hopefully he can have a good year, but I'm very nervous about specifically going to the Commanders because if, let's say, Jimmy G is your best quarterback, good luck on being an offensive coordinator with Jimmy G as your QB. You're not going to be winning much. So that's my concern for him is, do you trust the quarterback situation enough to go out and win enough to prove that you're a good coordinator? I'd be a little nervous about that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the guy's interviewed for 12 head coaching jobs in the past 5 years and not gotten an offer. I think he's just not doing a good job interviewing. I don't think it's a racist thing. We've got minorities hired in Houston, the Jets, Tampa. They've all hired minorities. Bieniemy has not closed the deal when he's out there interviewing. Nice guy, but he is living under that shadow of Andy Reid. Andy Reid helped him get this job. He knows Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera worked for Reid for 5 years, was under him. And I think they worked this out to give Eric Bieniemy a shot. This is a great shot for Eric Bieniemy. So my answer is to the question, what's he looking for in life? What does he want? Because he's on a dynasty with the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's not a bad ride. There's some good fun there, man, in that locker room, winning, being part of that team. But if you want to be a head coach, okay, man, maybe this is the only way. It's a high-risk move, but if that's what he wants out of his life, if he wants to be a head coach, go out there and prove it, man. Go kill it on the Commanders. It's a losing club. It's a great opportunity for him to help turn that around, and it's a chance for him to show us stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just would have been a little more selective on my team there. I would have gone with someone like the Jets, who are really swinging for a good quarterback and have a good roster around them, or known, to putting money into the offense. There's just a few other teams. I think the Commanders are like fifth on the list of teams that's going to land a quarterback. Are you going to end up with Baker Mayfield as your quarterback? Because then you're screwing yourself, Eric Bieniemy. So that would be my only concern.
Commanders have the 16th pick in the draft, so they're going to have to trade up if they want to get somebody good at quarterback.
Yeah, going to be very interesting, but I wish Eric the best of luck.
Yeah, good luck. Go get him, man. Go get him.
Well,
show him what you got.
Let's move on to your background here. Sean Payton,
hey,
the head coach for the Broncos. He's getting his assistants all set up. He's told Russ no one's allowed in the building that isn't official team members. He doesn't get an office anymore. He's laying down the law on Russell Wilson here. So can Sean Payton turn around Russ, G?
Well, my response to that is Sean Payton was hired to turn around the Broncos, not Russell Wilson. And that's what he's going to do. He will outlast Russell Wilson in Denver. Russ turns 35 in 2023. And if this marriage does not work out this year, Russ could be gone. Peyton's going to keep going. He'll get his quarterback. And this thing will be off and running. Sean Payton is going to lead the Broncos back, with or without Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I love Sean Payton. I think he's an offensive genius. So, like you said, he's going to be here for 8 years. He probably signed a 10-year deal, $20 million a year, whatever it is. So I agree. He's going to be here past Russell Wilson. But I think he can turn him around somewhat. I think you treat Russell Wilson now like you do Jimmy G. Hey, don't make a mistake, even though I know you're going to. And just dink and dunk your way down the field. We got a good running back in Javonte Williams. We got good receivers. We got a really good group. And let's just scheme open plays. And then you get Wilson to buy in like Drew Brees did. I think he's going to be able to, talk down to Russell Wilson, where a lot of these coaches in the past, Russell Wilson thought he was the reason. Pete Carroll thought he was the reason. Nathaniel Hackett had no experience as a head coach and no winning. So Russ thought he was the biggest voice in the room. Now with this guy, he's coached so long. There's rumors Russell Wilson wanted to go to the Saints when Peyton was originally there in the middle of Pete Carroll and him battling because he likes Sean Payton so much. So I think he's going to be able to turn him around now. That's a very tough division with the Chargers and Chiefs there. So good luck getting to the playoffs still.
Yeah.
That AFC is tough. So good luck. But I think they'll turn around and they can win 9 games.
Yeah, Russ has got some repairing of relationships to do, and just his overall humbleness and getting himself back to what got him great in this league. He's been elite. He's been unlike other guys that have not proven himself. He has. He went to 2 straight Super Bowls. He won one. He's got great stats. He was drafted in 2012, though. It's a long time ago. And, he did well, but can he rejuvenate his career? I know he wants to, and I think he's got a great coach here. They just brought in a quarterback coach who was on the Giants roster.
Yeah,
a guy named Webb. Yeah, Davis Webb.
He's like 28.
He's younger than Russ. and was a backup quarterback for the Giants behind Daniel Jones, and now he's the quarterback coach.
That's
so
hilarious.
That is interesting, but obviously Peyton has confidence in him and likes him, or he wouldn't have done that. And Peyton's a winner. Sean Peyton, he is a winner. He's won in the playoffs. He's won, a lot of times. He had a good relationship with his quarterbacks over the years. So he can do it. He's elite, and Russ has been elite. They could do it. So this is the best opportunity for Russ to revive his career, man, and get back out there and do it.
Yeah. Hey, early prediction here. You think they make the playoffs in the AFC? Just throw it out there. Just what are you thinking? I'm gonna say no.
I would say no right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see more to it.
Yeah,
but it may take some time to build this out.
So not full turnaround. They're just like they may have like 8 wins instead of like 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not full turnaround.
Well, it's like you said, it's a tough division.
Yeah.
That's a tough division right there. So how are they going to get out?
They
were, what were they, 5-12 this year? The Raiders beat them. They were 6-11. And of course, you got the Chargers and Chiefs. So, tough division right there.
Got to be tough. Well, let's move on to the next one. What you got for us, G?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's talk about T. Higgens. Sorry about that. T. Higgens, hey, he's entering his final year of his rookie contract, T-Money. He's been in the league 3 years, went over 1,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. What do you think about the Bengals and T. Higgens? Should they trade him?
Oh, man, this is a tough one as a Bengals fan because, I love the premise of going all in, right? I really do. But there's a lot of money to be paid, and I would personally think that trading him might be the best option. Would Chicago give you a mid-first after they trade down a few times from the first overall pick? Because I think they're going to move back in the draft. Would they give you the 15th pick for T. Higgens? I really like that option. Would Carolina, would the Titans, who don't really have great starting receivers? I think there's some people out there that would really give you a decent pick. The Giants need someone. I think there's options out there, and I love T. Higgens, but can you go and get a first rounder, draft Jordan Addison or Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then you replenish, right? Now you got 2 firsts, and you can flip a receiver real quick. So I love T. Higgens. I want to go all in as a Bengals fan. But I think we got to start managing things smart here because we're about to pay Joe Burrow. We're paying Chase next year. There's going to be a lot of money on the books. So I think getting draft picks now and getting some young guys on the team might be the smarter option because we're both of those guys are going to be paid like top 3 guys in the league. So I'd be worried about filling out the rest of my roster.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think so too. You're gonna have to trade him. He could be a number 1 somewhere else. Chase has got the number 1 spot. Chase has got it locked up at Cincinnati. T. Higgins could be a number 1, and there's a lot of teams looking for those number 1 receivers.
Yeah,
and he could be that for somebody. He was selected in the 2nd round of the 2020 draft. Amazingly,
he was a first round draft pick. He just got hurt at Clemson. He was the number 1 receiver in the country coming out of high school. But
hey, man, go get some picks, go get another young guy and rebuild it again for less money. In terms of what he goes for, if you look at the top receivers, T-Money in the NFL, what they're making, Tyreek Hill, number 1 at $30 million. And then we had Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins at 2 and 3. Let's see, I got 10 receivers that are over $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Where do you think he fits in terms of what he should ask for? Some people are saying he should ask for $25 million, but that's up in Stefan Diggs' range and AJ Brown's range.
I do think he's more like 18 million kind of guy at the moment, but I do think someone will overpay a smidge for him, hoping he becomes a 1. So I wouldn't be surprised to see 21, 22 million. That would be my thing. And for the Bengals, don't forget, you do still have Tyler Boyd on your team. I know he's kind of fallen back out of grace because you got these 2 great young receivers, but Tyler Boyd's a solid receiver. He can still be a 2. And Brendan, you bring in a rookie who's a 3. Like, you can still have a really good receiving core here. Boyd just got overshadowed by these 2 monsters, but the guy was doing great before Chase got here. So I do think that, remember that, Bengals fans, but I think Chase is going to get his money and he's going to get paid by someone next year. The only way I would keep T. Higgens is if you plan on franchise tagging him. If you plan on going throughout the year, not paying him and franchise tagging him, I'm fine with that. But the Bengals won't do that because they have to pay Chase that year, and then they'd have to pay T. Higgens top 5 money with the franchise tag. So I just think that's not a smart move. But if they want to keep him, only reason should be to franchise tag him, to keep the train rolling.
Hey, Lucy, there's one receiver that's not the number one receiver on his team in the top 10. Who is that, T-Money? Go ahead.
Go ahead. What in terms of
money they make per year? There's a guy that's not number one in his team that's in the top 10.
Oh man, very interesting. I would go with either one of the guys on the Bucks, or I would go with DK Metcalf.
No, it's Mike Williams. Mike Williams.
Oh, Mike Williams.
Oof. $20 million, and Keenan Allen $20.03 million for Keenan.
Crazy.
But hey, over the past 3 seasons, we know that these receivers can help teams.
Yeah.
Look at the last 3 seasons. Stephon Diggs, AJ Brown, Tyreek Hill all help Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Tua to take that next step. And we talked about those quarterbacks around the league, where they might land. Man, those quarterbacks would love to have T. Higgins on their team and could help push one of those teams forward.
For sure.
So, hey, we hope you're loving the Father, Son, and Holy Sport NFL show. Quick rundown for you today, the NFL rundown here. If you're interested in being a sponsor or guest on our show, look us up, man. Look for all of our segments and clips on all the social platforms at Father, Son, and Holy Sport. On behalf of Team Money, I am G-Man. See you next week.
All right. Peace.